deserve a little drinky drink. Let's hold a second of silence for the oldest book in my physical TBR. Yeah, it's a tea making competition. There is an embarrassing large amount of them. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Nat from Nat's Narrative, and today we're going to take a tour of my TBR book cart. Okay, let me first explain how my books are organized. So I have a book cart that mostly houses the books in my TBR, right? But it also has a few other stuff in there, like journals, coloring books, supplies like art supplies, seasonal candles hidden in the bag, stuff like that. I'm only gonna be going through the actual books that are in the cart. If you wanna take a look at what my physical card looks like or how it's decorated or organized, I do have a couple of videos where I've reorganized things around, moved things around in the book card, so I'm gonna leave those up here, whichever side, for you to look at. Another thing that I wanted to explain is that I'm not gonna go over all of the books in my physical TBR because I do like to keep series together. So if I own a series that I already started reading but it's unfinished, I do want to keep those books together in the bookshelves instead of separating them and keeping the books that I haven't read yet in the book card. So in this video, I'm not going to talk about those unfinished series. I am thinking about making a different video to talk about that. Okay, I promise to try to keep the rambling to a minimum. I don't want this video to be 2 hours long, and I do have many books to go through. It's kind of embarrassing. I was doing a casual count of my books, and by that I mean that I might be mistaken. I'm not the person you want to go to count. But if my counting is correct, I have about 117 books that I own that I have read already, okay? However, I have 55 books in my TBR. So about almost half of that, which is embarrassing. But anyway, like I said, we're not gonna go through all of those 55 books because I'm not talking about books in unfinished series. I have quite a few of those. It's a red flag of mine, procrastinating on finishing book series. So anyway, let's start. I'm not gonna go in any particular order because most of these books are fantasy anyway, so might as well just get through all of them together. Actually, that's a lie. I am gonna do hardcovers first just because I couldn't pile every single book in here, so I separated them, okay? Anyway, we're gonna start with A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. So this book, first of all, I got it, I'm not gonna lie, because it's beautiful. I believe I got this in November. I wasn't going to get the physical copy because I do have the audiobook available on Spotify, and I was just gonna listen to the audiobook since I already listened to her audiobook for Juniper and Thorn, right? I'm gonna leave that here. Just, I know that I'm not saying it right. However, when I saw how beautiful this copy was, I just had to get it. I had to get it. It's beautiful. It reminds me so much of like Hermione Granger, which is one of my favorite characters in my entire life, I guess. I've seen this book described as a dark academia, but then I've seen other people critique that there really wasn't that much academia, as you would expect from a dark academia book, really. But let's just read a little bit. I'm not going to read the entire description, but it says part historical fantasy, part rivals to lovers romance, and part gothic mystery. This feminist fairy tale has captivated readers with its haunting, dreamlike atmosphere. It doesn't even say dark academia anywhere. So I don't even know who started that rumor. But yeah, this, as far as I know, takes place at a mansion, like a gothic mansion, not at a school. Anyway, I will be very excited to read this one day. Next, we have All of Us Villains by Amanda Footy and Christine Lean Herman. I've had this book for so long. I'm not even sure how long. I believe I already owned the book when I started my Bookstagram, and that account turned 3 years old in November. And I'm pretty sure I've had this since before then. So, yes, it says Blood Before All. It says it's magical, clever, and cutthroat, addicting from start to finish, glittering with magic and drenched in blood, dark, luscious, and brutally smart, impossible to put down. I have no clue what this is about. No clue what it is about. I just know that I was a target. I saw it. It seemed interesting at the time, and I got it. And then I never read it. So hopefully one day I will be in the mood for something like this and pick it up. Next, we have A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. And this book I've also had for a while, not as much as that other one. This one, I'm pretty sure I got it in 2022. So it's been a while. Or 2023. No, yeah, it might have been 2023 actually. But yeah, I also haven't read it. I'm pretty sure it's a duology, a finished duology. And I do know that this one is about a tea making competition. I guess I don't know. I think it's about a tea making competition. Yeah, it's a tea making competition. It's an interesting concept. I will not lie again. I got it because it was so beautiful. I obviously read the description of the book before I got it, but the first thing that caught my eye, I mean, come on. I am very interested in reading this at one point. There's just been other books that I've wanted to read more. We have The Atlas Sex by Olivia Blake, and if you recognize this cover, this is the original self-published book that she had out before she got signed. I did actually start this years ago. I do want to say it was 2022, and then I never finished it. I read about 1/3 of it and I was enjoying it. I don't know. I do want to finish this because I was liking it. I have heard a lot of people not like this book, at least this first book. But I am very curious to finish this and then read the other copy, like the newer, more edited copy, I guess, and see if I can find differences. I don't know. The last book to join my collection was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one was a birthday present last month. Actually, I believe it was a Christmas present, but it was given to me on my birthday. And this is the special edition, the newer one with the sprayed edges. It's so freaking beautiful. Also, these are the end papers. Is that what they're called? But yeah, my best friend gave me this. She said she had read it and she wanted me to read it because she doesn't have any bookish friends and she wanted to talk about it with somebody. I didn't have plans to read the book, I'm not gonna lie. I know that it was so popular in Book Talk and Bookstagram a few years ago, really, but I was never really interested. But now I have to read it, I guess, so we can talk about it. Next, we have Gallant by B.E. Schwab. I actually have never read a B.E. Schwab book, and when I got this, I didn't really research like which books were best to start, like which of her books were the best ones to start. And I do think I got this in 2023. Again, have not read it, obviously. But yeah, it's a beautiful book. And I am very interested in reading her books, and this is the one that I thought I was going to start with, and then I didn't. What is this one about? Ooh. Okay, I know why I bought this. I think most of her books have a male main character, and not to sound sexist, but I tend to stay away from books that have male main characters, unless it's like a dual POV romance kind of stuff. I just enjoy reading from a woman's perspective. I did obviously grow up reading books from the POV of a man or a boy or a teenager. I just enjoy this more. Of course, it's about like a haunted or magical manor, and I'm always down for one of those. So it makes sense why I got it. Will I read it soon? Probably not. I have other books on my physical TBR that are like more pressing at a time. I deserve a little drinky drink. This is North is a Night by Emily Rath. I actually originally bought this for somebody else as like a Christmas present for somebody else. And then I never saw them again. So I kept the book. And I'm not mad about it. When I saw it at the store, it gave me Frozen 2 vibes with like a sapphic romance, and I was like, immediately yes. Because if you've seen Frozen 2, the chemistry between Elsa and that one girl. So I was like, say no more. I thought that person would really like it, and I saw that it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, we can co-read it, right? But now I just own the very pretty copy, and I'm gonna read it on Kindle Unlimited one day. But yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then, oh, look at that. Can you look at that? I don't wanna hurt it, I was gonna say. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Probably one of my most beautiful books, which is just serendipity, I guess, because I didn't even buy it for myself. Next, we have another B.E. Schwab book. This is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Again, I actually think I ended up getting this copy first before Gallant, so this might be the first B.E. Schwab book that I bought and didn't read. I'm not sure when that happened. If you recognize this special edition, I believe it was by Target, then you might know when that happened. But yeah, this one is the one that I've had recommended to me the most out of all of B.E. Schwab books. It just follows the life of this girl who makes a deal with is it a demon? She makes a deal with someone, a dark entity. She makes a deal to be immortal, but basically the downside is that everybody she meets forgets about her. So yeah, that's all I know. All I know. And I bought it anyway. Again, when will I read these? I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me those kind of questions. Those are not the important questions, okay? Next, we have A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft. I must have bought this in 2023, probably. I think most of these books I bought in 2023 because at that time I was still reading books, physical books. I wasn't in a slump yet, so I was buying them because I was reading them. And then my brain broke. But this one, if I'm not mistaken, I do remember this was about a girl, either her mom or her dad, or like some sort of healer or like a witch kind of. And one day they go missing, I guess. And then this guy comes to their house because he wants to be an apprentice under whichever parent it is, but they're gone. And then I don't know what happens after that. Let's see. Also beautiful end paper. Alchemist. It's not a witch or a healer, it's an alchemist. And it's also about some sort of hunt. So hunting for the legendary Hala, the last mythical creature. Why would you kill the last mythical creature? But it's like a competition, right? And you get like fame, riches, and unlock an ancient magical secret at the expense of the last mythical creature. I don't know, but anyway, I've had this for quite some time. Again, not on the top of my list, okay? I cannot tell you when I will possibly read it. Next, we have another book that I bought because it was extremely beautiful. And that is A Rush of Wings by Laura E. Weymouth. And this, again, probably 2023, definitely. I really didn't buy that many books in 2024. I actually cannot, I think the books that I ended up buying last year, I did read them, which was, wow. But yeah, this one, no clue what it's about. It says, like the little comments in the back, it says fierce, lush, and lyrical, gorgeously rendered retelling of what? I don't know. Atmospheric and lyrical, Weymouth spins magic and whimsy like she was born of it. I do love whimsy in books, I'm not gonna lie. Outlander meets an old classic. Which one? I still don't know. Is this like, well, there's swans. Are those swans? Or cranes? What is a crane supposed to look like? I don't know. Anyway, now I really need to know what book this is a retelling of. Rowena. This is a retelling of the same story as Six Crimson Cranes. I just don't know what that story is because I didn't grow up hearing it. But yeah, I guess I have 2 books in my TBR about this exact same like classic fairy tale. Fun! The more you know. For a second I thought this was a retelling of like the Swan Lake, but no, it's not. Anyway, now let's hold a second of silence for the oldest book in my physical TBR, and that is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I got this in 2021. Before I even started the aforementioned Bookstagram account. I was in a mythology kick at the time. I believe I had just read Circe by Madeline Miller, and then I saw this and I was like, yes, give it to me. Then I never read it. As punishment for a past rebellion, 9 Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals. They're hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines, all eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. Okay, that actually sounds really cool. Next, we have the only series in my physical TBR. Because I've learned not to buy entire series, and then, you know, I've learned to do that. Thank God. But I do have the Caraval trilogy. I've had this since 2022. I've had this since 2022. I don't know a lot about Caraval, and I like it like that. This was also in my winter TBR, did not read it. Are we surprised? We shouldn't be surprised. But anyway, this is about a magical competition. For years I thought this was about a circus. It is not, apparently. It's about a magical competition. There's 2 sisters. The magical competition thing is like a pop-up, like it pops up in your town or something, like once a year or so. I don't know. Don't listen to me. You probably know. Caraval is so old and so popular. You probably know more than I do. But if you ever wanted to step into a living dream, here's your ticket. Spellbinding, rich, sumptuous, beautifully written, enchanting, decadent, shimmers with magic. That's Caraval. And then we have the second book, Legendary. The third one is Finale. But yeah. Okay. Let's carry on. Like I told you, most of the books in my physical TBR are fantasy, but these next 4 books are a little break. First we have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This one, I don't even think I have to say much about it. You've either read the book or seen the movie. I don't know how you could have possibly escaped either or both. I personally have only seen the movie and I loved it so much. I love it so much. I love it to the extent that it's a little worrisome. You know what I mean? So I got the book. I think I got this as a present, actually. But yeah, an ex of mine, we saw the movie together. He'd seen it before, and he thought that I would like it because I'm into true crime, like videos and podcasts and documentaries. And so he was like, I think you're gonna like this movie. We watched it together, and he was a little worried about how much I enjoyed the movie, but he did end up giving me the book. But yeah, I haven't read this yet. Keeping up with the murder, we have If We Were Villains by Emil Rio, which I believe also has a murder in there. And this one is dark academia with an emphasis on the Shakespearean. I believe it's about people that were studying Shakespeare or performing Shakespeare, and then one of them gets murdered and another one gets thrown in jail over that murder, and then they get out of jail. And then this book takes place. So clearly I don't know a lot, but I feel like that's the best way. I've had these two books actually since 2021, like Christmas of 2021. So these are some of the oldest books in my physical TBR. These next two books I actually stole from my little sister because she got them. I don't know why, because she's never really been a reader, but she got them years ago. We're talking 2021 probably as well, and then never read them, which is probably for the best with this book because as far as I'm aware, this is for adults. I don't know if there's smut in it or what, but she was like a 12-year-old when she got it. So this is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is the only Emily Henry book that I own, and obviously I haven't read it. I haven't read any of her books. For some reason, I don't want to read any of her books. I don't know why, okay? I don't know why. I just feel like everybody loves Emily Henry so much that I'm almost scared to read it and then not like them, you know? Because I would be incredibly disappointed if I didn't. So this other book also used to belong to my sister, and I'm also very scared to read this just because of the hype behind it. It's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I love Circe by her so much. Obsessed with it. Just did a reread in February, and I'm just very scared to read this book because I'm expecting, you know, a lot out of it. But yeah, one day, maybe. And the last book in my physical TBR that is not fantasy is I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang. Yeah, I kind of bought it because it was really pretty, but also the premise sounded really interesting. I guess it's about this girl, it's a YA. She writes emails, I believe, to people, kind of like hate letters. So whenever she's angry at somebody or frustrated at somebody, she writes them an email, and then she doesn't send it, she just sends it to her drafts. And one day something happens to her computer or her email address that all of those drafts get sent to the correspondent people. And basically that means her life implodes. But yeah, that sounded incredibly funny to me. And yeah, this one I got last year. Yeah, 2024. So I guess I was lying when I said that all the books that I got last year have been read. I didn't read this one, sorry. Like I said, I have more than one book inspired by the same retelling. This is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lynn. I now want to do a video reading this one and reading the other one, which I already forgot the name. Yeah, I want to read them both in a reading blog and compare. Why am I like to do that? This is A Winter's Promise by Crystal Dabos. This is the first book in a series of 4. I don't know much about them except that it's a winter whimsical fantasy, and that was the mood I was going for when I carefully curated my winter TBR, and that's why I asked for this and the other books for Christmas. and then I didn't read it. So on brand for me, right? But yeah, this one is, I believe, an arranged marriage. You have these like floating islands up in the sky, and each floating island is like a little different. We have a girl who can read or sense the souls of objects or something like that. She is in an arranged marriage. She is arranged to be married to a guy that lives in an island or a floating island or whatever, that's like kind of like a winter wonderland or something like that, like a polar, it's in the poles, something. It's frozen, whatever. And she's sent there. Also, I believe there's a lot of political intrigue in this, which I love in fantasy books. But yeah, A Winter's Promise. Like I said, did not read this. Here's the thing. A great part of me wants to wait until next winter to read this, but I'm just lying to myself because I live in the freaking desert, okay? It's never going to be cold outside and be like perfect atmosphere for me to read this. So I might as well just read it now. So I think this is definitely at the top of the list when it comes to like my priorities of like reading within my physical TBR. Another winter wonderland book. We have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This book is inspired by Russian folklore. There's actually a glossary at the end. And yeah, I was really excited to read this. And then I didn't. I took it with me on 2 different trips. I took it with me to like this vineyard, obviously not the vibe. And then I took it with me to Yosemite, which was incredibly cold. Perfect for reading this. We actually even saw snow the day that we left. It wasn't in Yosemite, but it was close by. There was snow, it was beautiful. But there was no time to read, okay? I was hiking, I was doing outdoorsy stuff. So no reading time, sadly. But yeah, another book that I just had to get it together and like accept that I live in hell and read it anyway. And this is We Hunt the Flame by, and I'm gonna butcher this, I'm so sorry, Hafsa Faisal. Anyway, this book is not mine. This book belongs to my good friend Emily from Bookstagram. Emily, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. When my account turned 1 year, and by that I mean my Bookstagram account, I did a giveaway. And the prize for the winner was that I was gonna buy one of their favorite books. I was going to read it. I was going to completely go crazy annotating the entire book. I was going to decorate the title page. I was going to write notes, and I was gonna go all out. And then I was going to ship the book to them so they could have like a copy or like an extra copy of one of their favorite books that was like completely crazily annotated by me. And my good friend Emily won the giveaway over 2 years ago. And then I never read the book. And so I never sent it to her because she has a copy of it. I could have just sent her the copy of the book without it, you know. But she already owns a copy of this book. And like, I'm holding on to it because I'm going to read it and I'm going to annotate the shit out of it. Pardon my language. I'm going to annotate it fully, like crazily, like every page is going to have something in it. And then I'm going to send it to her. And I don't care if it takes me 5 more years. It's not going to take me 5 years, Emily. Don't worry. It's definitely happening this year. Anyway, next we have A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This book, I've nominated it twice to be the pick of the month for the book club that I'm a part of, and I've never won. This, as far as I'm concerned, and I might be wrong, why would you expect more from me, is a book about a magic library. And I love those. I love those I love books about magic libraries. They're some of my favorites. But it says, all sorcerers are evil. Elizabeth has known that as long as she has known anything. Raised as a foundling in one of Austemir's great libraries, Elizabeth has grown up among magical grimoires and that rattle beneath iron chains, capable of transforming into grotesque monsters. That's incredibly cool. So like you are protecting, or like I don't know if she's protecting or like what her role is in it, but she grows up in this magic library where there's books that can turn into monsters. And that's really cool. I really want to read this year. Okay, this is also like in the priority list. Top 8. Somewhere in there. Anyway, another book that is really high on my list is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. The thing is, this is, I believe, a part of a trilogy. I think it's a trilogy, and I am really not supposed to start more series because, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have quite a few unfinished series. Not only the ones that I own all the books to, there's series where I have the first book and I don't even have the other books. But yeah, this one, I really want to read it. I know that I'm gonna be obsessed with this. I know for a fact that this will haunt me for the rest of my days. Okay, I know that. But this is about a war orphan. Why am I acting like I know what this is about? I know that people are absolutely wrecked after reading this book, and that's the kind of stuff that I like. Guys, we did it. We've reached the last book in my TBR cart. This is The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door by H.A. Perry. Also one of the books that I got recently. I got this in December, I believe. This one does give me a bit of Dark Academia vibes. It's about a girl whose brother was charmed, I guess, by Fae during the war, like the World War. And there's no cure, there's no anything, so she goes to this elite magical school to try and learn to find a way to go to the fairy realm and find a cure for her brother. In the process, she meets these like elite kids who also go to her school, and they get into some trouble together. I don't know what happens, but it hints at something happening, like them accidentally opening a portal or a door or something, and dealing with the repercussions years later. But yeah, very excited to read this soon. It was also on my winter TBR, did not read it. It's not even a winter book, so I have no excuses not to read this at some point, like soon. This is probably number 1 in my priority list. Anyway, those were the books in my physical TBR cart. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about all of them. There is an embarrassing large amount of them, I'm not gonna lie. I really hope this is a year that I take those numbers down. But we'll see about that. I want to thank you for watching this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be leaving the link to my Bookstagram down below. I'll also leave the links to my Goodreads, Fable, TikTok, etc. down below for you to click on if you're interested. I hope you had a great time watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!